Imagine if there were ancient texts that revealed hidden truths about biblical history, shocking details about angels and demons, or even alternative accounts of Jesus' life. What if I told you that such books exist, but they were deliberately left out of the Bible? Welcome to The Divine Lens, where we uncover biblical mysteries, religious secrets, and spiritual insights. Today we're exploring the forbidden books of the Bible, texts that were either lost to time, banned, or deemed too controversial for the official biblical canon. But why were they excluded? And what secrets do they hold? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into ancient history, hidden scriptures, and some mind-blowing revelations. Chapter 1. How were books chosen for the Bible? To understand why certain books were banned, we first need to look at how the Bible was compiled. The process of deciding which books made it into the Bible took centuries. The Old Testament, based on Jewish scriptures, was largely settled by the 1st century AD. But the New Testament? That was a whole different story. The early Christian church had dozens of gospels, letters, and writings circulating, all claiming to tell the story of Jesus and his teachings. Some churches used the Gospel of Thomas, others the Gospel of Mary, and some even had books detailing Jesus' childhood miracles. It wasn't until the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, and later councils like the Council of Hippo, 393 AD, and the Council of Carthage, 397 AD, that church leaders formalized what we now call the Bible. They categorized some texts as inspired by God, canonized, useful but not divinely inspired, apocryphal, and heretical, forbidden. Additionally, the development of the biblical canon was influenced by politics and theological debates. The church sought to create a unified doctrine, meaning any book that conflicted with established teachings was at risk of exclusion. But here's the real question. Did these councils hide certain books because they were dangerous? Or did they simply want a more unified doctrine? Chapter 2. The Book of Enoch, the mysterious lost text. One of the most fascinating forbidden books is the Book of Enoch. This text, attributed to Noah's great-grandfather Enoch, is an ancient Jewish manuscript that describes visions of heaven, fallen angels, and divine secrets. It was highly influential in early Jewish and Christian traditions, yet it was removed from most biblical canons. What's in it? The Book of Enoch tells of the Watchers, a group of angels who descended to earth and corrupted humanity. They took human wives, taught forbidden knowledge, like weapon making and magic, and fathered the Nephilim, giant supernatural beings mentioned briefly in Genesis. The book describes Enoch's journey to heaven, where he learns cosmic mysteries and divine judgment. Additionally, Enoch is given prophecies about the coming Messiah, the final judgment, and the fate of the righteous and wicked. Some of its themes align with later Christian teachings, which makes its exclusion even more mysterious. Why was it banned? Many believe the Book of Enoch was excluded because it contained too much detail about angels and demons. The idea of angels interacting so directly with humans and fathering children was seen as too controversial. The text also describes apocalyptic visions that may have been considered too radical or speculative for mainstream doctrine. Fun fact, even though it was banned from most versions of the Bible, the Book of Enoch was highly regarded in early Christianity and even quoted in the New Testament, Jude chapter 1, 14-15. Chapter 3. The Gospel of Thomas, a different Jesus? What if I told you there was a gospel that contained only Jesus' sayings with no crucifixion or resurrection story? That's the Gospel of Thomas, one of the most controversial lost gospels. What makes it unique? Instead of telling stories about Jesus' life, this book presents 114 secret sayings that Jesus supposedly spoke. Some of them sound familiar, but others are mind-blowing. One of the most famous sayings from the Gospel of Thomas is, "Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there." This gospel paints Jesus as a mystic teacher, rather than a savior who dies for humanity's sins. It focuses on the idea of self-discovery and enlightenment, suggesting that people must seek divine truth within themselves. Why was it banned? The Gospel of Thomas presents an alternative understanding of Jesus' teachings that does not emphasize his death and resurrection, which is central to Christian doctrine. Many church leaders saw it as promoting a Gnostic perspective, a belief system that viewed salvation as coming through secret knowledge rather than faith in Jesus' sacrifice. Because of this, it was considered heretical and left out of the official Bible. Chapter 4. The Gospel of Mary. A feminist revelation? Most of us know Mary Magdalene as a follower of Jesus. But what if she was more than that? The Gospel of Mary suggests she played a central role in Jesus' teachings, perhaps even more so than some of the male disciples. What's inside? The text describes Mary having secret revelations from Jesus, which she shares with the male disciples. However, Peter and the others question her authority, showing tension between male and female followers in early Christianity. One fascinating passage describes Jesus saying, "Every nature, every modeled form, every creature exists in and with each other." This aligns with Gnostic beliefs that emphasize unity and self-knowledge. Why was it banned? This gospel may have been suppressed to maintain male leadership in the church. A woman having special knowledge from Jesus? That was too radical for the early church fathers. Some also argue that it contradicts traditional portrayals of Jesus' discipleship structure. Chapter 5. The Apocalypse of Peter, a terrifying vision of hell. Most of our modern ideas of hell come from Dante's Inferno or medieval art, but one of the earliest and most detailed descriptions of hell actually comes from the Apocalypse of Peter. What's inside? This book describes horrific punishments for sinners. Blasphemers are hung by their tongues. Adulterers are burned in eternal flames. Murderers are cast into a lake of boiling lava. It also contains an intriguing idea that God's mercy might allow some souls to be saved from hell after a time. Why was it banned? The early church likely excluded it because of its extreme descriptions of hell and the idea that sinners could eventually be forgiven. This conflicted with the emerging doctrine of eternal damnation. So, what do we make of these forbidden books? Were they banned for political and doctrinal reasons? Or were they left out because they weren't truly inspired by God? One thing is clear. These texts offer alternative perspectives on biblical history and provide valuable insight into the diversity of early Christianity. Their exclusion from the Bible has led to centuries of debate among scholars, theologians, and believers alike. The removal of these texts also raises questions about who gets to decide religious truth. Was the formation of the biblical canon truly a spiritual process guided by divine inspiration? Or was it a human-led effort shaped by theological power struggles and political agendas? Another important point is how these books challenge our understanding of Jesus, angels, the afterlife, and salvation. The Gospel of Thomas, for instance, presents a Jesus focused on enlightenment rather than atonement. The Book of Enoch offers a vivid backstory on fallen angels that isn't found in the modern Bible, and the Gospel of Mary elevates the role of women in early Christianity. Perhaps the biggest takeaway is that faith is a journey. Whether you believe these books were rightly excluded or not, they encourage us to seek knowledge, question assumptions, and explore our spirituality with an open mind. What do you think? Were these books unfairly banned, or was their exclusion justified? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.